Hello, everybody, and welcome to Best Seat of the Track. I am Jared Haas, and today we are at the historic Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. And joining me today from Zach Sturniolo from Darlington. Zach, how's everything there in Darlington?
Everything's fantastic, Jared. I appreciate you having me on here. And I'll tell you what, being here, this is my first time at Darlington. Being able to experience this track in person is unlike anything I've ever experienced at a NASCAR track. I've been fortunate enough to go to Pocono, Dover, the Glen, New Hampshire, but this is a special place. You feel it as soon as you walk in here. What this place means to NASCAR.
I know it probably feels like heaven being in Darlington during Labor Day weekend too. I do want to discuss about, like I said, last night's Xfinity race too. We had Denny Hamlin made an appearance. He's basically making yearly appearances at Darlington. This year has been basically a sum of Denny Hamlin's 2021 season. Kind of has flashes of dominance. Spun during the end of stage one. Had the speeding penalty late that handed the win to Noah Gragson. Do you think Hamlin turns it around, starting the chase, starting the playoffs too? Do you see that turning point yet, or do you see him just being there in the top five, getting a good finish at the end of the race?
Well, I think round one is a lot of just maintaining for all these playoff guys, especially the ones who finished toward the front of the playoff grid. Now, obviously, Hamlin comes in with hardly any playoff points. He, of course, finished second in the regular season battle, and I think enters seventh in the standings into this first round. Darlington is historically one of his best tracks. He knows how to get around this track better than most. I think a really good run today would go a long way towards seeing Denny find that momentum. If he's going to make any sort of run toward the final four, and I think he's capable of it, then he's going to need to start finding some momentum, and that starts today at Darlington. Richmond is a decent track for him. Bristol is okay. Darlington is his best track in this round. There's no question about that, and I think he can get off to a good start for these playoffs during the Southern 500.
And I think there's a combined stat between Xfinity and Cup. He has like 7 wins at Darlington. So, I mean, he has experience to win on that too. And I think if he can shake that monkey off his back, kind of think Al LaMotta, Tony Stewart in 2011 when he said, "I'm useless, take me out of the playoffs," and then won 5 of the 10 races in the playoffs. Well, Zach, I want to, like I said, pivot towards today's race too. Like I said, we had the turn 2 pavement. We had one race on there too. And I do want to play a clip of Austin Cindric after the race too, of what he said about the pavement on it for you.
Today, when we showed up, it was a construction site, and now it's a racetrack. That's the way I see it. I mean, it's dirty. It's new asphalt. We're the first cars to run on it. It gained grip throughout the day. It got cleaner throughout the day. It got more raceable throughout the day. I don't think it'll be much of a storyline tomorrow. You can make the argument that it could make it harder to pass. You can also make the argument it helps the bottom lane hanging on restarts off the tube. So there's pros and cons, but it seems like something the track needed to do.
Now, Zach, I find it interesting that he said that it wasn't going to be a storyline, but when I was watching the Xfinity race, I noticed there was a lot of incidents off of Turn 4, and Darlington is a rhythm track. Do you think the rhythm is broken with that Turn 2 repave? Like I said, it was last repaved the whole track for the 2008 season. What are your thoughts on that, and what have the drivers have been saying about it?
Well, I do think it's going to be a storyline in one way or another. Whether that storyline is the fact that it plays a role or that it doesn't play a role. I think there's a very good chance by the end of, let's say, the first stage, which is a very long. These stages are long today. I think the first stage alone is over at lap 115. Point being, but I think midway through that first stage, we're going to have our answer about how impactful or not this repaved strip will be. I thought it was interesting after that race. So we played the Austin Cindric clip there. Harrison Burton, he he was pretty descriptive. He said that first lap, we all go through there. It was really low grip. You get to the end of it, and he thought something broke on his car when he transitioned back from the new pavement to the old pavement. And so that's just how abrasive it is. Obviously, everything was fine in the car. It was just a matter of that transition being a little bit rougher than he expected. But I spoke with Greg Ives in the garage area this morning as the 48 car was going through pre-race tech inspection, and he told me that they're not anticipating making any changes to the car before the race. They've got what they've got, and also they don't expect it to be that significant of a deal today for today's Southern 500.
Like I said, it's pretty interesting to see how it had played out too in the Xfinity race. It didn't play out too much. I mean, we had the only caution. I believe the only caution off of turn 2 was Brandon Jones, but that was contact from another car too. Zach, we're going to play our favorite segment of the day for Best Seat of the Track too. It is called Bump or Stump. It is the good old trivia question on there too, little nuggets on there. Zach, Darlington is a historic track, and it's been on the schedule for a long time. Not the oldest, but one of the oldest too. My question is, who is the oldest driver to win at Darlington? And I'll give you this hint. He's the answer to most of the oldest questions. Who is the oldest person?
All right. Well, my first thought, I've got two thoughts. I will go with actually the guy who I thought of second, and that's going to be Harry Gant.
Zach, you bumped it out of the way. It is Mr. September. It was the start of his streak at 51 in 1991. So, like I said, you're the second person. Mark Crystal got it at Michigan. You bumped it out of the way, too. So, congrats on that, too. It's been, like I said, we've had more people get stumped, but I do appreciate you getting it right. So, like I said, we got picks to win. We got to give them to them. I feel like, it's going to be a Joe Gibbs kind of day, too. This package has run well. I mean, we had Christopher Bell was running top 5 before, he had problems late in the race, too. I'm actually going to be looking at Denny Hamlin to perform well, too. I think this is going to be a time he doesn't have to worry about the points battle. He can just go out there and race as best as he can, too, and not worry about mistakes. He already did them on Saturday with the speeding and the spin-outs. So I feel like Hamlin's going to perform well. Zach, who is your pick to win?
Well, Hamlin's always a good choice. We talked about him earlier and just how good he's been historically at this racetrack. But I'm looking at Kyle Larson. By Larson terms, I mean, he's on a little bit of a winless streak by going 3 races without a win. And I don't believe he's won since Watkins Glen, but we saw how good he was at this race, the 400-miler, back in the spring, trying to chase down Martin Truex Jr. Truex was obviously the dominant car that day. I expect him to be a contender as well, but if I'm going solely for the win, I think Kyle Larson picks it back up today and scores his first Southern 500 win.
Well, like I said, you can't go wrong with the Larson train. He finished second here in the spring, trying to catch Truex, who led a good majority of the race, too. So, Zach, it was appreciated for you to be on there. And from everyone on frontstretch.com, I do appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Follow Zach at Zach Stur. And follow Front Stretch at Front Stretch on Twitter. And from everyone else, enjoy the race weekend. Thank you very much.